Hello everyone and welcome to the next video on this channel. My name is Peps and welcome you to day 14 of the G1 Climax review series. We are towards the end of the block stage. We have the second to last B block day. We have of course only 4 matches due to the Gabe Kidd injury, and on the lineup today is Yoshihashi versus El Phantasmo, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Drilla Maloney, Shingo Takagi versus Ren Narita, and a big time main event, at least on paper, with Konosuke Takeshita facing off against Shota Umino. On this show, multiple names could have potentially made it to the knockout stage by just winning the match, including Zack Sabre Jr., Ren Narita, and Konosuke Takeshita. Meanwhile, a lot of these names are, I would say, about to be eliminated, especially if they are losing their match. So we will go into all 4 matches and talk about the results, how the match quality was, and how it impacts the standings in the G1 Climax ahead of the final B block day next week. We start off with Yoshihashi facing off against the New Japan Television Champion El Phantasmo. El Phantasmo is at 6 points and already eliminated. Yoshihashi comes in at 8. And this wasn't a very important match, of course, for Yoshihashi, because a loss would pretty much mean he's out of the contention, as 10 points could be tough, or at least you would need multiple tiebreakers that are just impossible to get pretty much in a realistic scenario to get through. So Yoshihashi needs to win this match, otherwise he's out as well. This match started off kind of a little bit of funny. They did some stuff, and like early on, ELP tried to do the moonsault that he does like in nearly every match, the outside. He doesn't look back and just jumps, and he lands into nothing because Yoshihashi is just not there. I don't know if he didn't get like the cue that he needs to be there, or if El Phantasmo just forgot to check where he is. It was a very weird situation in general. Like, this match in general felt like very weird after that. It did some stuff. The pacing was okay as well, but like something fell off in my opinion. I don't know really what it was. Maybe Yoshihashi was knocked out for a second, or El Phantasmo was just not in the flow. I don't know what it was, but I felt like that they didn't have the chemistry for the opening 5 minutes or so. I feel like towards the second half of the match, they found a groove again and started a good finishing stretch with El Phantasmo hitting a CR2, the Burning Hammer, and then the Thunder Kiss 86 to win the match, get to 8 points, and pretty much eliminate Yoshihashi from contention to advance. With that, it was the final match of El Phantasmo in this block. I would just say I will come to his my personal thoughts on this tournament in a bit. The match itself was fine. They tried a lot, they did a lot, but I felt like it never really connected to me personally. It felt like an AI match pretty much. They had a cool idea, they had it smart enough laid out, but like it didn't feel like an actual match, but rather just stuff that happened, and it happened after each other. And then they had a finish. The finish looked good and everything. Like, something was missing there, in my opinion, that got me personally invested at least a little bit into the match. ELP then, of course, ends this tournament with a 4-5 record at 8 points. Meanwhile, Yoshihashi needs to defeat Zack Sabre Jr. on the final line to even have a slight chance to reach an unbreakable tie to force a tiebreaker match, and that is just not happening in G1 Climax, so I'm going to say he's eliminated from this tournament. For El Phantasmo, his tournament was fine. I personally see him as one of the weaker competitors in this match, in this tournament, because I felt like that he had some matches that I personally really enjoyed, especially the one against Shingo Takagi and Zack Sabre Jr. I wasn't that high on the one against Konosuke Takeshita, but I know people love this one as well. But at the same time, next to these better performances he had matches like this where I thought, okay, they were fine, but I don't think I will remember a single thing by tomorrow of this match. Then we go on to Zack Sabre Jr., the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, at 10 points, facing off against Drilla Maloney in his debut G1 Climax, who is currently at 8 points. Here's no elimination possible, but Zack Sabre Jr. could be the first one to advance to the knockout stage if he wins this match. This was basically a must-win scenario for both of them, as Zack basically wanted to punch his ticket into the playoff stage early with victory there. Meanwhile, Drilla Maloney, of course, in his biggest match as a New Japan heavyweight, of course, wants to win, to have a chance, to have a very good chance to advance to the knockout stages, as his tiebreakers are very good. We will come to that later when we talk about the scenarios. This started off with a typical submission technical wrestling of Zack Sabre Jr. and slowly picked up the pace. In general, I felt like Drilla Maloney was able to hold his own in these kind of technical situations, which was kind of shocking because he's like exactly the opposite of that. If you are like watching, like Drilla is this kind of more like a powerhouse that was able to hold his own against maybe one of the best technical wrestlers in the world with Zack Sabre Jr., if not the best technical wrestler in the world with Zack Sabre Jr. And I was very impressed by that. In general, I thought this was one of the best Drilla Maloney performances he had so far in the G1 Climax, because next to his typical power stuff, he tried something different. And it felt like he was trying to be innovative, considering he is very, I would say, limited in terms of what he can do inside the ring right now as a wrestler, because he's very inexperienced in everything. In the end, we had a typical Drilla killer exchanges that ended up with Zack Sabre Jr. getting Drilla into an armbar, and Drilla tries to escape at first, but eventually needs to tap out. And like I said, this was not only my favorite Drilla Maloney performance, but also my favorite Drilla Maloney match in the G1 Climax. Zack Sabre Jr., my God, he has been tremendous so far in this G1 Climax, and he's with that also advancing, so he's at least one more match coming up. Like, this dude is the clear MVP of DP Look so far, if not of the entire tournament. He has good to great matches with literally everyone he has faced so far. Even against wrestlers that good workers like a Takeshita, for example, or like a Shingo Takagi are struggling against. Like, he had the best match in the tournament so far against like he had El Fantasmo's best match of the tournament, Drilla Maloney's best match of the tournament, Shota Umino's best match of the tournament, Gregory Khan's best match of the tournament, as well as Ren Narita's best match of the tournament. That is five out of the 7 wrestlers he faced in this tournament. The others 2 are Shingo Takagi and Takeshita, who had a fantastic match against each other, so this kind of equals it out. Literally insane what he's been doing in this G1 Climax. I only can bow. Like, I feel like this is exactly what Zack Sabre Jr. is, this great tournament wrestler, and not the ace perfect world champion that he was portrayed to be in his first run. I know, like, this G1 Climax can be a little bit unrealistic, everything, but I like that this match was shorter than other G1 Climax matches of Zack Sabre Jr. so far. Like, his average before this match was around 20 minutes per match, and this one went like 14. And I totally agree with that, because he doesn't need to go 20 minutes with Drilla Maloney. No disrespect to Drilla. I enjoy Drilla sometimes. But he is the mid-carder and an 8-point scorer. He doesn't need to go 20 minutes with the world champion. So 40 minutes and a very clean finish in a good match is good. I like that. Zack Sabre Jr. with that is the first wrestler to reach 12 points in the G1 Climax, is the first wrestler to advance to the knockout stage, and has the perfect opportunity to make it as the number 1 seed into the playoffs. Then we go on to the bad part of the show, sadly. We have Shingo Takagi coming in at 6 points against Ren Narita at 8. In the perfect scenario, and for that a lot needs to go right, Shingo Takagi is still in this if he wins this match. Meanwhile, of course, Ren Narita at 10 points has like no shot of being eliminated here. And this was a typical House of Torture stuff, and I will cut this short because I have a lot of notes that are pretty much the same. We have Shingo Takagi getting attacked right before the bell by Kanemaru. Yay. Shingo then, of course, gets, like, normally the crowd the control back, but then another Kanemaru interference. Yay. It goes quickly to the outside, the typical outside brawl of the heels. Yay. We had Kanemaru interfering again. Yay. That is awesome. We have seen, like, this House of Torture match in this block like 23 times. And the burnouts is just really, like, even the freshest things at the beginning just feel boring now. Even, like, Daiki Nagai, who put a little bit of a stop to momentum with Narita, is, like, nothing fresh. I've seen that with, like, 25 now, and not 25, but, like, with 2 or 3 other young lions in this tournament. And it popped me a little bit, but it feels like diminishing returns that they tried to recreate something that one young lion did with another instead of making them individually stand out. Not really interesting to me. Like, one of the coolest part of this match was Renrater getting busted out because he always looks cool with busted out nose and blood coming out. Shingo then put him in a submission, and everyone can guess what happens next. You can type in the comments or say it out loud. 3, 2, 1, yeah, Kanemaru ring the bell. What a shocking surprise. One day, once the babyfaces should just ignore it, and the ref should just ring the bell when like someone taps in the ring, because it does not matter. Like, don't make your babyfaces look so dumb. It was bad when it happened for the first time. It's even worse now. Man, I'm so tired to talking about this match. Then we had the typical Made in Japan near fall, but Kanemaru pulled off the ref like always, takes out Shingo's leg with a bottle, double crossed by Ren Narita, and it seemed like the Ren Narita will win the match, but once again, Daiki Nagai interfered, blocked the push-up bar, pumping bomber, loss of Dragon, and Shingo Takagi wins the match to stay alive for right now. Yeah, I thought this was terrible. Like, I can't even hide my excitement, and I try to be really positive on this video, because I feel like being too negative doesn't come off cool, and I don't want to be too negative to just feel like, oh, I want to do rage bait and everything. I just didn't like this. Ren Reed had like a good opening match against Zack Sabre Jr., where he had like 0 interferences, built up his leg work that would have worked in the entire G1 Climax, with a good finish and everything. And instead, they followed it up by cheating, and even more cheating with every single match. This match against Shingo had like 10 Kanemaru interferences, and it's likely even more than that. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. I don't even get it. I don't really get it. Oh my god. Like, Shingo didn't really try either. I wouldn't try either if I was in this match. But in a typical House of Torture bullshit match with no real babyface that brings energy, Shingo did it in the end, to be fair, just makes it not work. And it doesn't work in 90% of the times when there is a babyface with the energy, because they are just shoving us down these heels, and they're shoving us down these interferences. They can do it well. They have shown it, but they just don't care about it anymore and just want to do it. And it fucking annoys me at this point. I'm sorry. Let me calm down for a bit. With that, Shingo Takagi is at 8 points, Ren Narita 10, heading into the final night, and of course, Ren Narita needs to win against Konosuke Takeshita now to get through. Then we go on to the main event of the show. Konosuke Takeshita at 10 points, facing off against Shota Umino at 6 points. If Shota loses, he is eliminated. Konosuke Takeshita would be pretty much through if he wins this match. So basically, the scenario is here, like, if Take wins this match against Shota, him and Zack would be at 12 points. Shota Umino only can reach 10 points, where it's Ren Narita, where he is tied with Ren Narita, who he doesn't have to tiebreak against, as well as Driller Maloney with Shingo Takagi happening on the final day as well, and both beat Shota Umino. So this match is a must-win for him. Meanwhile, Takeshita would just advance with win. This started off really slow, with Umino working over Takeshita's leg, and I don't get the match layout to begin with. Why is Umino in control here over Takeshita, who's like presented as this beast in the G1 Climax that is tough to beat? Well, the first 10 minutes of this were like really boring. Shota is not the wrestler to work on top, in my opinion, because he isn't the perfect babyface either, but I feel like people are getting more out of him as a babyface than he is when he's working on top. Like the Zack match in the G1 show that David Finlay one showed that in the New Japan Cup, and the Shingo Takagi one, where he pretty much got beat up at Dotaku as well. The coolest thing that Shota did in his like control segment was a lariat over the guardrail, but like Takeshita instantly followed up with a brainbuster to the outside, which was like the first real pop on the match, and even better, better than everything Shota did in his like 10 minutes of time that he had. Like, Shota then barely beats the count, and we reaching the 50-minute mark. Takeshita gets the control, And this is still like very slow and very uninteresting. And then it jumped the shark for me. Before that, I was like, okay, typical very slow match. They will pick up the pace. They slowly picked up the pace, but Takeshita just dropped the leg selling. He just decided, I'm not selling leg. And it makes the first 50 minutes like not matter. Like it just threw out the first 50 minutes of the match. The entire control segment of Shota Umino could have gotten forgotten. Like it could have started a match right at the 15-minute mark where they started to do forearms. They did forearm after forearm after forearm after forearm. And it was dragging for me. I really did not like this match. I'm sorry. I really didn't. Once they reached a 20-minute mark, they fully picked up the pace. And at this point, I was just in hell watching and just wanted it to be over. Because the first 50 minutes didn't matter. The leg work didn't matter. Nothing. Takeshita did then the chicken wing sleeper, put it in, and then just let go of it to hit a blue thunderbolt for near fall. Shota Umino got the momentum back with a lariat, hits another lariat for near fall. Second chapter attempt countered into a fantastic brainbuster that looked phenomenal. Raging fire attempt into near fall, into a roller for a near fall. Another forearm. Umino then got the second chapter out of nowhere to win the match, and in around 25 minutes, the longest match of this tournament so far, and I did really hate this. It was so boring. It dragged a lot, and the final 7 minutes or so didn't make up, in my opinion, for whatever the first 15 plus or so were. I just don't get it. They totally jumped the shark with everything they did. I don't get why Takeshita just decided to not work the leg. I don't know. I don't even think like this will sound off like the typical Shota Umino, but I don't think it was Shota Umino's fault fully. I think both hadn't had a good performance in this match. So it's tough to me to blame it on one. I think both are in fault for that, to mention that, because Shota Umino is always like controversy, especially if Shota Umino has a bad match. But to say something positive, it didn't go 30 minutes. I had a fear it was going 30 minutes. No, jokes aside. Like, for me, this was a complete failure of a main event. It was the worst main event on the G1 Climax tour so far. I don't have like anything really positive to say about this other than I'm glad it's over. I'm sorry that I wasted my time on this one. And it sucks because I really like both these performances, but I feel like that both have been under their skills in G1 Climax so far. Like, Takeshita still has been good. He has been really good, actually. He had the match against Zag. He had the match against Shota Umino, against Shiga Takagi. He had the match against Great Khan. He had the match against Yoshihashi that I all really enjoyed. But he also had the matches against like Drilla Maloney, Shota Umino, and El Fantasma that I all did like. And I don't think that is the consistency you expect from a Konosuke Takeshita. Like, I expect this consistency that Zach had, where he pretty much had the best match against everyone he's facing. And Takeshita is someone in this block that had a similar role, and in my opinion, he didn't really achieve in that. I don't think he has been bad, to be fair. Like, he had still the second best match in this tournament. I still think he has I still think he has some of the best matches in general of this tournament. He also has some of the best opening matches of the tournament. But I just feel like he's under what he can be, and that's sad. Shota, meanwhile, has been not good in this G1 Climax so far. He had this match against Zack Sabre Jr. that was fantastic, and then nothing else. Like, the Yoshihashi one was solid, the Shingo one was okay, but it also underdelivered. So there's that. Then I would say we jump into my overall thoughts on this day, and like I sounded, I didn't really like the show. I thought this was the worst show on the G1 so far. Yoshihashi vs. El Fantasma was okay. Zack Sabre Jr. vs. Drilla Maloney was good. It was my clear match of the night. I liked this one. Shingo vs. Ren Narita was bad. And Konosuke Takeshita vs. Shota Umino was the worst main event of the show. I would just say we jump straight into the stats part to get a little bit more positive, and we have in the B block. On number 1, on the first place with 12 points, already advancing to the next stage, is Zack Sabre Jr. Then Konosuke Takeshita, Ren Narita, and Shota Umino all still in play at 10 points. Drilla Maloney at 8 points is also still in. And then we have the ones that are eliminated with El Phantasmo, Great Okan, Shingo Takagi, Yoshihashi all at 8 points. And of course, Gabe Kidd at 10th with 0 points. For the scenarios, Yoshihashi, Great Okan, Shingo Takagi only can force a multi-way tie, which would force another match to decide who goes through, and that's just not happening. So nobody of them has a clear path to go through to the next round. Drilla Maloney, on the other side, has really a good shot doing to his tiebreakers. He needs Zack Sabre Jr. to win, Takeshita to beat Ren Narita, and Great Okan to beat Shota Umino. Then we would have Drilla, Narita, Great Okan, Umino all at 10 points, but Maloney has the tiebreakers over all 3 of them, so he would go through. Shota Umino's scenario is pretty much is he needs to win against Great Okan and he's through to the next stage. That also counts for Ren Narita and Takeshita. They are facing off against each other. The winner of them goes through. The loser is likely out. And of course, Zack Sabre Jr. is already advancing, so he doesn't have any scenarios for him. It's just about whether he's finishing first, second, or third. If he wants to finish first, he just needs to win this match. If he finishes second or third, it's all about how the other results go. In terms of the match times, Konosuke Takeshita is still leading the entire field with 2 hours, 26 minutes, and 55 seconds. Then we have Zack Sabre Jr., then we have a couple. Then we have Shota Umino with 2 hours, 5 minutes, 55 seconds. Then Yuya Uemura, Teichi, Shingo Takagi, and many, many more. In the end, at the bottom, we still have Yoshihashi with 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 23 seconds on the bottom of the barrel. Well, and with that, we have talked about everything in this block so far. We have then only the 2 final shows coming up on Sunday with the A block final and on Wednesday with the B block final. Then we are heading into the knockout stages with the quarter, semi, and as well the final. And with that, I would say please leave a like or comment down below. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Bye-bye.